Hi, this is James from Drone Deer Services, and this is going to be a little bit different. I flew last night and already put up that video, and now I flew in the morning, and I want to talk to you about this video. This is my first morning flight in this particular area. You can see deer in the ag field here. We're going to, evaluate them, see what's going on. Maybe try to determine a little bit more about deer behavior today. I think I can identify deer by sex. Also have antler development that has started, and in some cases they're very easy to see. We've gone past kind of the nub phase. Later on in the video, I'll introduce you to a new animal for this area, and I'll also show you some activity that may be interesting to you. But in this part of the video, I'm looking for deer, kind of watching them walk into the brush line there, looking for them with IR and zoom. It's early morning, not the best for photography yet, but as a hunter or a wildlife observer, there's a deer kind of at the top left of the screen. As a hunter and a wildlife observer, we understand that the majority of the movement will occur for the most part in the mornings and the evening. So here's a classic inside corner. We see deer milling about. The drone is probably up 330 feet, I believe. No disturbance at all on the animals, and kind of that's what I would like to do. It was very calm this morning, so noise would have traveled. This deer is browsing on some shrubbery. The new buds must be, taste pretty good. But there's two deer actually in that frame, browsing along, at least two deer, browsing along, munching on the food. And then as I kind of look further east and then pan a little bit towards the north, pick up more animals. There's out in that kind of a peninsula, there's some thermal signatures that I wanted to go investigate, so I flew over there, and I'm doing that now. So carrying over from last night's video, or last night's mission, I was paying attention to deer movement and trails. I was talking to Centerpin Rick about this. He believes it might be more of a agricultural agricultural area behavior. Not sure. That might be a shed there behind the second deer, and I have to get over there and see if it is. I think it is a pretty nice shed, so I'll go check that out. But anyway, so I'm observing the deer. I talked to Centerpin Rick about deer staying on trails, and they stay on the trails. They're pretty disciplined. I think that's for a lot of reasons. They know where the trails go to. They can scent check the trail to see what has been on it. That's going to be very important later on in the video. You'll kind of understand where I'm getting to. But now I'm rolling in on that mineral lick, and it's very, very bright thermal image in the middle of the screen. And here we have two deer, which I believe will show up later in the video. I didn't zoom in on them here. I was quite a ways away, but I just wanted to capture them on the lick. These look like two bucks, possibly two bucks from a couple videos ago that were on the same mineral lick. I'm at a different angle now, and you can see the kind of depression as this deer, uses the lick again. But quite a number of deer, probably 30 already seen if you count the previous ag field in this grouping here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at least. 13 or 14 on that peninsula that we saw previously, and Just a lot of deer. Nice area for whitetail deer. Here's a deer, just an example, walking right down the trail. And as you can see, these animals here, they're right on the trail. Eventually, what's going to happen this morning on this mission will further tell me about deer behavior and kind of their routines they go in. So I was flying around, trying to pick up deer. This would be a feeding, food source to bedding opportunity. Here's the deer standing right on the trail, looking back at the other deer, browsing along the trail. Whether the trails were built, and this deer is quite out far ahead, whether the trails come from moving from food source to food source and are worn down over the years, or the trails are, just random or more random. I'm not sure, but it's certainly something I'm going to look into. We're going to learn a lot about those. But if you can see this trail network here, have quite a few animals. One over there on the left, quite a ways out, and we're getting ready to watch some interesting behavior. So I don't know, 15 deer in this shot here. They're just milling around, and then I put this graphic in here. Watch closely. And up from the left-hand side, a little bit above the 9 o'clock position, you're going to see something that may interest you. So incoming is a bouncing white object. I'm zooming in here on the deer and the deer behavior. You notice two deer are staying still. The one in the exact center of the frame and the one a little bit to the left of that animal. And they are staring down whatever is bouncing above them or above them in the screen here. That item is smaller than deer, less bright, so the insulation is either better or the animal does not put off as much heat. But we'll learn that that animal is actually a coyote. And here's the coyote in the screen here looking back. Very hard to stay on it and using the game trail. Very interesting with that. But very hard to stay on a coyote at 400 feet or 330 feet with a Mavic 3T. I was pretty excited at this point, so I didn't really have buck fever, but it was an interesting thing to see. As I moved back over the deer and concentrate on them, or more on them, because I couldn't find the coyote, notice the milling about. And like I said, it was almost dead calm. And now this deer behavior. So where did that thing come from? What was it? You can see the deer that stood their ground are moving out forward, looking for what this thing might have been. Other deer are moving even deeper into the area that the coyote came from, and that might tell us a lot. Maybe they're looking for the next coyote. I imagine they understand that coyotes run in packs. I'm looking for that coyote here. I don't see any sign of it. Maybe it went down in a burrow. I don't know. I don't know where the coyotes live on this particular parcel. But the deer begin kind of milling around. They're not eating and they're milling around, I believe, searching for additional threats. That's what I believe. If anyone would like to provide, maybe some clues on that, would be great. Some of the deer are staying on the trail here. Some have moved off the trails. They're catching up with each other, and it's kind of reminds me of, while bow hunting, we shoot a deer and then we help each other out track it, and that's kind of like what we did. You can kind of see the posture of these deer. They're looking to where the deer came from. Some of them have their tails up and kind of defending their territory, circling the wagon, so to speak, probing, going deeper into where this coyote or threat came from, wondering if there are more, protecting the herd. So it was pretty good footage here. Not sure why that coyote was by itself, but it got out of there in a hurry once it probably figured out that there was more than one deer, and a couple of these animals wanted nothing to do with that coyote and stood their ground. So you kind of see, if we look at body size, you kind of see the larger deer out front, the more mature deer out front. You know, they're kind of moving, probing up the game trail. You see the scent check on the game trail, and they're moving to where the threat came from. I just think that they want to have it in their mind that the threat is gone. There's no more threat, and the herd would be safe. And then we kind of have this behavior. It's kind of like a circle. Um, uh, we're going to find out that some of these are bucks, and they're pushing each other around for whatever reason. I don't know if it's like a bravado thing, but that was quite interesting to see. So, this was where they're kind of milling about. Hey, there was like activity. So, all the deer in this part of the parcel all are kind of joining up together and, just trying to figure out what happened. What was that? They don't do that when the drone flies above them, which gives me a very good indication that, hey, the drone's not disturbing them. But that coyote on the ground most certainly did. And here's another interesting thing from this shot. Um, some of the deer are lighter, some of the deer are darker. Deer are definitely, some are heavier than others. I'm assuming they are with fawn, and very pregnant. In fact, the two like right in the middle of the shot there. Uh, but one of them might be a buck. But um, that's kind of the interesting behavior that I started to see this morning. A little bit of poking around, a little bit of uh, posturing by these animals. Remember that original video with the mineral lick? I think we had 5 or 6 bucks at the mineral lick. So I'm directly above them, and just kind of observing them. And this is kind of like the rotation here. Now they're going, looks to be counterclockwise in their rotation. A lot of they remain on the trail. A little bit of sparring there. That was kind of funny, and even more coming up, which is interesting. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that the antlers are beginning to poke out of their heads. I don't know, but certainly something to kind of figure out and work through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 deer in this shot. Here's the overhead. They're kind of near the mineral lick, but they're kind of milling about. I think they're settling out after the coyote went through. I think they're scent checking where the coyote went through near the trail. In fact, that trail from above is where that coyote ran. And here's a warning about the buck fight. So I'm going to give you some close-up footage. You can see the nub sticking out. And so what we're going to have here is some unhappy deer, or just maybe they're playing. I don't think so. The darker of those two that stood his ground seems to be the dominant deer from the previous video at the mineral lick. But, he just kind of stands there. And I think if I put it all together, that was the deer that stood his ground when the coyote came in. And here's a deer, we hear the expression licking their wounds. I don't know how much it hurts when you get hit in the chest with a deer hoof. I can imagine it doesn't tickle. So that's kind of where we are with that. Again, the deer are on the trails. The magnet is kind of, I think it's their security. They believe if they're on the trail, they're in good shape. Here's kind of the sunrise looking to the east, and this is the little deer area here. But very easy to see trails. Deer are still milling about, and that's what I wanted to show you about that particular episode. Now, some deer are moving off back into that original direction which they were heading before the coyote that disturbed the entire journey. And it looks like deer are returning back to feeding. Here's another buck with protruding antlers. Kind of got a little closer to him and gave you some idea that there were antlers there. But as we go here, and I zoomed in a little bit, you can definitely see the protruding antler on this animal, and it's you know, I'm not sure if that hurts. I know it's one of the fastest growing things in the animal kingdom. So, well, I think elk and fallow deer have their antlers grow faster. You just imagine the mass that they have to put together to come up with a set of antlers if they're mature. But here's, the deer are kind of returning back to the behavior they exhibited prior to the coyote visit, and I'll take you through the rest of the video as I kind of pivot around. We're going to slow mo here, and pretty soon to kind of go and evaluate an animal a little bit deeper. This is, something I thought that was not going to be possible, but here you can actually see antlers protruding from this buck. This was one of the bucks that was at the mineral lick. Maybe some damage on that front of his left shoulder, not sure, but a scrape maybe a previous season hit, and try to get you a better look at, this animal. Seems pretty healthy other than that. He moves through the trail pretty well, and I think he's going to be fine. No other damage visible here. I think it was Jim Everhart he was talking about. John Everhart was talking about, the bucks that he shoots. Oftentimes he finds old wounds, broadheads in them, slugs, but I haven't experienced that, but certainly be careful on more mature bucks. And this is just a representation of the deer kind of returning back to their behavior prior to the coyote visit. Another couple of things, Dan Infalt talks a lot about it, where you have the main trail and then you have the buck trail. And I think Greg from the Hunting Public also talks about it. I'm not sure if that kind of behavior happens at this time of year. The rut, which is scent checking, yes, but maybe not this time of year. I'm going to show you this animal crossing kind of a log. This is like an uphill from the kind of the flat they were feeding on up a berm that usually floods, and this animal's going to go right over this log. It's kind of interesting. Check this out. Just kind of up and over. I'm not sure why it decided it wanted to go that way. It's not a trail, so keep that in mind when you're moving along in the woods, and maybe that will help you. As this animal leaves kind of the area and got out in the bright sun, I wanted to determine whether it was a doe or a buck. I'm thinking this is a doe. Those might be nubs there, but I'm thinking it's a doe. It had two other smaller animals with it. So, but I'm not 100% sure. But it kind of moseys across this little bit of ag field, which is the same ag field they were feeding in last night. And if you notice this yellow colored tree with the sparsely leaved tree next to it, that is the same one from the prior video where the 6 deer were standing there. And what I think I've discovered is this is a river crossing. So you can see the deer at the top of the frame. I'll get off of this. It's hard to see them through this cover. But you see the deer at the top of the frame, and the deer in the middle of the frame, and the deer at the bottom. So I believe this might be a river crossing for these animals. Obviously they're going to look for shallow water. I might take my waders and cross this to see about my theory. But there's an animal down there. You can flick the tail or the ears every once in a while. But this, the cover. And here comes a deer come running in. Other deer are coming across. So I think now that the coyote's gone, this might be the time to head to bedding. And we'll cross a river here, a shallow portion, and then kind of head to bedding. And if I look out there, I haven't been in that area at all, and I think I'm going to explore that. But I look forward to exploring that. This kind of a wide angle shot as I back up. I kind of wanted to give the viewers a little bit different look of like where this, how this land lays out, and kind of how what it means to me, or what I've seen. But I'm definitely going to go back and check out that what I believe was a shed that was the things you find in editing are quite a bit different than what you find while flying. Here's the herd moving through what I think is the river crossing. I think this group here has moved across that low spot. They're traveling a group of like 3 or 4 or 6 down that kind of berm edge. And, I imagine they're on heightened awareness because of the coyote, but, not 100% sure. But I will definitely get some more video deeper in it. And that's another thing that, the hunting public talks about. Dan Infalt, Joe Rietmeister, how deep to go into the bedding area. This looks like a little bit of an island ahead of us here, with probably 6 animals in the middle of it, just above the center screen. And I'd like to explore that thing a little bit more deeply, and kind of give you guys a look at what that might be. In this particular case, this is one of the stragglers. Doing a lot of scent checking, maybe for other deer, but moving along there. And I guess going back to that island, I'd like to see that from above. I haven't gone like past that bit of water there, so it's something certainly that I'm going to check out. I need to take some waders, make sure I can get across whatever water I come across. But I just wanted to give you, so we saw the same tree in a prior video. This is the exact same area where the 6 deer were standing. This seems to be a crossing point for the deer, probably used regularly. Another, thing to think about for hunting season, where the deer cross the barriers, water certainly being one of them. I'm just looking for deer, and they can kind of see her moving a little bit right of center screen there, and kind of going up that little berm there. I saw something out in the middle of the next kind of field, or crop area, or feeding area, I guess. Food. I don't know if it's really a food plot, but here's another deer all by itself, which maybe the coyote was hoping he would find a deer all by itself. But you notice that right-hand turn, and then she got right on that trail, or he. I'm not sure about this deer yet, but following the trail, which is it just got my mind going. Why they stay on the trails, and what that's all about, what that means to me as a hunter. So this deer was all by itself. I just kind of wanted to spin around and then back off, and then get a different look at this particular animal. And while doing that, of course, you see that just popped up there. So a word to the wise: if you have a Mavic 3T and you and you're using the infrared camera and you point it to the sun, you'll get a warning that the shutter will close, and to protect the camera, and that sunburn protection thing, which I'll slow that down maybe, so you can catch it. But this is what I did here is I made sure I was clear, didn't have any trees around me, and then I just lowered the drone, and I think I got down to like 48 feet off the ground, and this animal was just, kind of standing there, uh, not really sure maybe what she was hearing, but I did that with the drone to kind of see how that would work without disturbing the group. But as I always end these, please give us constructive criticism, feedback, comments, like and subscribe. We're just starting out at this. This is, kind of fun. It's not kind of fun, it's very fun. And I look forward to helping out other folks that want to use drones and want to watch the great outdoors. Uh, Over and out, the Boomer Outdoorsman. Like and subscribe. Drone Deer Services. Just send us an email. Thank you.